Did you know that more people moved to Raleigh, North Carolina from Seattle, Washington than any other city last year? According to Allied Magnet States report, the total inbound migration rate into North Carolina versus the outbound migration was about 60% to 40%. So if you're curious about why Seattleites are packing their bags for the Tar Heel State and what it's like to live here, you're in the right place. Stick around because I'm going to tell you everything you need to know, from the cost of living to job opportunities and to lifestyle. And before we dive in, you might want to hit subscribe below, and that way you'll have all the information you need about Raleigh right at your fingertips. So don't forget to hit the bell so that you're notified every time we've got something new to post. Let's start with the numbers. Like Seattle, Raleigh is growing quickly, but here's the difference. While home prices in Seattle continue to soar, Raleigh's housing market is stabilizing. The average home value here is about $493,000, and it's significantly lower than Seattle's $814,000. So overall, Raleigh is about 33% less expensive than Seattle. Now, healthcare and utilities might cost you a bit more, but you're going to make it up with the lower cost in housing, transportation, and groceries. If we're keeping score, that would be Raleigh 1, Seattle 0 for cost of living. And let's see how else they can match up, starting with the population. Now let's talk about people. Raleigh and Seattle share some similarities in the demographics. Millennials make up the largest group in both cities at about 41% of the population here and 42% in Seattle. 54% of the people here in Raleigh are single compared to 47% in Seattle. So if you're looking for a perk, that may be the one for you. Both cities are higher than the national average for master's degrees and bachelor's degrees. But here's where they differ. Raleigh's population sits at just under 131,000, whereas Seattle boasts almost 750,000 residents. And with Seattle crammed into about 84 square miles compared to Raleigh's 150 miles, you'll find Raleigh a bit more spread out. And whether that's a pro or con is up to you. So speaking of pros or cons, let's talk about neighborhoods. With so many options, it can be a challenge to figure out which neighborhood is best fit for you and your lifestyle. If you love the walkability in areas like Seattle's Capitol Hill and Ballard, you definitely have some options. In downtown Raleigh, you're steps away from unique local businesses, historic sites, green spaces, craft breweries, music venues, and lots of small local businesses. So this is where you're going to find out more of the nightlife. Midtown has a few walkable areas with options like boutique shops, delicious food, each with a different vibe. Now, for example, Five Points is known for Hayes Barton Cafe. Tell Frank I said hello. It's got iconic desserts, local restaurants and shops, and a couple of large breweries. All great stops before and after you catch a movie at the Rialto, a vintage 1942 cinema. But maybe you prefer a more serene feel. You want to walk out your back door and into a trail around a lake. And there's tons of neighborhoods bordered by greenways in our areas. And if neighborhood pools and clubhouses and playgrounds are more your speed, you might be interested in the Knightdale area. Neighborhoods like Hedingham would be a great fit for your family. Hoping for a more suburban feel like Rainier View, Briar Creek Country Club would fit the bill. It's car dependent, but there are restaurants and parks and shops nearby. At Marti Hampton, we pride ourselves on matching you with your dream neighborhood and lifestyle. So check out our video, which we've linked to below, on the best Raleigh suburbs for more insights. In Seattle, entertainment is more centralized and walkable than in Raleigh. In Raleigh, you may have to hop in the car more often, but that doesn't mean there's a shortage of options. Seattle boasts an amazing food scene, along with tons of options for coffee, music, craft beer, hiking, outdoor activities, and sports enthusiasts. These are just things you might be worried about missing if you move to Raleigh. But you're going to find out that this is one of the surprises I mentioned earlier. We've got lots of big city perks with a bit of a smaller town feel. So there's so many things to do here year-round. That's one of the reasons it's such an attractive destination for those considering the move. You know, from March through October, there are festivals, mini markets, events every single weekend. One thing families love is that many of these are absolutely free. So you can spend your time exploring museums. We have everything from art to history to science to kids museums. And if you've never been to a Hobbit house before, you won't want to miss the walking trail outside of the North Carolina Museum of Art. Or enjoy our over 200 parks and 100 miles of greenways in our area. And that's just in Raleigh alone. That doesn't even account for the suburbs within a short drive. If you enjoy kayaking and long walks around Green Lake, you're going to love Lake Johnson. And just like you can camp, boat, and swim at Angle Lake in Seattle, we have Falls Lake here. So there's also a variety of restaurant options. The food scene here is unexpectedly diverse. With award-winning chefs and restaurants, there's something to please everyone. And if you're a foodie like me, you have to remember to ask me about my favorite Indian restaurant. Everyone you meet will have an opinion on their favorite barbecue around here, so you'll have to decide for yourself if you're a fan of Eastern or Western style barbecue. Then there's Black and White Coffee Roasters, founded by 2 U.S. barista champions, and its 3 shops are wildly popular, with the flagship location in Wake Forest. And another great option is Sir Walter Coffee, where you can enjoy craft coffee or a cocktail. Located in the sip and stroll area of downtown Raleigh, you can explore the art murals and the installations on your way to your next stop, which might be Crank Arm Brewery or the Hippo Bar and Wine Shop. If music is more your speed, you can enjoy the Summer Jazz Series in the parks, small concert venues like Cocoa Booth and Cary, or see bigger bands when they visit our larger open-air amphitheaters. If you prefer the performing arts, it's a bit of a smaller scene than in Seattle, but you can still enjoy the symphony, the ballet, and the touring Broadway shows. And there's also lots of options for sports lovers, from the cheering of the Carolina Hurricanes to an impressive National Women's Soccer League to BMX. And while we don't have a major league team like the Mariners, the Durham Bull games are always a really good time. And then there's ACC basketball, and you're going to find out quickly there's plenty of intense rivalry between NC State, UNC, and Duke. And while we're on the subject of educational institutes, did you know that there's 11 different universities and college campuses in the Raleigh area? Duke is ranked number 7 in the nation, with UNC close behind at number 22. And let's not leave out NC State. It's a pioneer in STEM fields. You'll want to check out the Hunt Library on their campus, which has become an international model in innovation. The concentration of colleges and universities, along with Research Triangle Park, or RTP as we call it, the oldest research park in the country, is part of what drives our local job market. So we're ranked number 3, the hottest job market. We continue to see growth in the tech industry, particularly in biotech, healthcare, and clean energy. And Seattle's been able to claim tech giants like Amazon, Microsoft for a while. And in Raleigh, we also have some big name players like Red Hat and Epic Games. And just like you're considering a move to Raleigh, lots of other big name companies have seen its merits also. There have been recent announcements of major companies moving our way, such as Microsoft and another Fortune 500 company like Advance Auto Parts. And there's ample job opportunities with unemployment rates below the national average. So now let's address the elephant in the room, traffic. Because of the attractive housing and job market, Raleigh is getting more congested. And that means you're likely to hear the locals complaining about increasing traffic. But compared to Seattle, you'll probably find driving around here is a breeze. So if you're worried about a long commute, Since we have been serving this area for over 30 years, we know exactly which direction to point you in for the best opportunities. And with Raleigh centrally located in North Carolina, you're just a few hours away from the beach or the mountains, and that's perfect for a weekend getaway. Last but not least, the weather is another difference between Seattle and Raleigh. You know, summer is hot here, with July temperatures averaging close to 90 degrees. But don't you worry, there's no shortage of sunny days around here. So with 213 compared to Seattle's 152, you'll be trading overcast rainy days for Raleigh sunshine. And there you have it, everything you need to know about living in Raleigh compared to Seattle. You know, whether you're drawn to the lower cost of living, smaller town feel, or booming job market, Raleigh has something for everyone. So what are you waiting for? Pack your bags and join us. Whether you're ready to buy or just want to learn a bit more about Raleigh from one of our experienced agents, we've got you covered. So fill out our form linked in the description below and we'll be in touch. We hope to see you soon in the City of the Oaks.